thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ryan Knight right now?
How you doing?
Hi, it's Idol. I'm just like Starfire.
Wait, Idol?
Because you're sitting
Starfire.
down.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
not
you
seeing
stand up.
everybody.
Yeah, for some reason, when you're in houses, if someone's sitting down when you enter, they look like they're downstairs for you.
I gotcha. Okay. Okay, is there any way we can chat in private? Me just one sec. Is Ruth, you coming? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, sorry, the car was messed up.
I
Okay.
can step on out if need be.
Yeah, only reason
I can
is
step out too if need be.
awesome. Please, please. Yeah, just because you know this is an investigative matter and it's always important for a direct conversation. So.
Thank you. Love you too. Thank you.
I'll be running around on the roof if you need me.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate it. Oh, it's a good thing I'm not wearing my costume. Look, Ava, just in case you hear it from someone else, I do have a Finley Milton outfit.
Do I have one?
No, I have one. I have one.
Oh.
Yeah, just so you're aware of it. It's not related to any of this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Okay.
So, where do you want me to start with it?
Have a seat. Come have a seat. We'll
living room.
Thank you. This is a conversation pit.
This is nice.
I'm gonna make sure we sit close so I can hear.
My unicorn's still here.
I wonder if
Pockets has a matching one on his house. Right over yonder.
they hear us outside. If we can hear them,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Brian, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I figure whispering, we're probably safe.
Okay. Where would you like me to begin?
Can
you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. I'm sort of thinking, I would say kind of from the top. Do you mind if we record this?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. All right.
Are you hearing outside?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me ask her to move.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, we can hear you in here. Can you go further away from the house,
Oh,
please?
I mean,
Or
we can go away from the house. Yeah.
yeah,
but we
because
can't hear you out here, so.
no, we can hear you, so that's why it's yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye. Okay.
All right. There we go. It is currently 10:31, 2025 at 7:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be Director Brian Knight. San Andreas State Marshals. Ruth?
Brooke Ruth, state ID 1174, badge number 087.
Do I have to state my name?
Yes, please.
Judge Ava Devereaux.
So just for sake of, I'm going to be Mirandizing you. At this time, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do will be used against you in court of law. Right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you by the state if one is available. Do you understand your rights as they've been read to you today?
I do.
Only reason I like to read that is just in the event you're like, yo, dog, I, did some shit. This is.
No, I understand.
Okay, fantastic.
It's not me though. So, do you just want me to begin?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay.
Feel free to kind of tell your narrative. Ideally, starting wherever I'd say the story began, right? Even if that was a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Well, the story begins for me when Opal petitioned for us to meet regarding a hearing that she wanted to bring that turned out to be for possible mistrial due to some activities that took place with members of ADMC and Paul Hammerstein. And it should be also noted that the case that was pending was a civil matter, and that is important due to the burden level between criminal and civil. Moving on from that, it was a situation where Paul went on a yacht with members of the ADMC. Conversations were had about his debt to Redwood Cigarette Company, and conversations about a daughter that may or may not exist, and threats to her, and some extra stuff as well. And at some point, some type of protection was offered to him by, I believe, Shang Liu. And all of that happened. And then within about 20, 30 minutes of that, Paul was kidnapped from Senior Bun's, uh, the outside, not the actual entire Senior Buns, but just the somewhere in there related to the stalls, and by gentlemen or people just coming in with outfits labeled with the Redwood uh, branding. And he was taken away. He was questioned and injured. And one of the things that these Redwood people apparently were talking about, in addition to his debt and his maybe existing, maybe not daughter, was the case against ADMC, and wanting to find out from him who told his client to do the things that he was accused of doing. And he wasn't answering, or couldn't answer, or didn't answer. But that was the line of questioning that the Redwood people had, and also indicating that it better go right. So then he was, in the hospital, whatever, and then he, talked to the police, and that's where the interview recordings where that we had to view were present, so we can get those to you to view, I guess, if you need to see them, or Opal can. That was the issue of what compromised the case, and we had to consider it, and it was not an easy decision to make. Some people will agree, some people disagree. I understand that. However, the decision that we came to was to go ahead with the mistrial with prejudice. With prejudice seems harsh, and we did have to talk about that a bit. The reasoning for that was it had to be a strong enough consequence so that this wasn't repeated. The Constitution guarantees every citizen is supposed to have a fair trial. So any actions that are taken that usurp that, or in any way compromise the judicial process, you can't do that lightly. Because if you just do a mistrial and it goes, but we can just refile it again, no harm, no foul, no lesson is learned, and nothing will prevent people from doing that in the future. Now, that can be argued either way, but I understood he could appeal it, or if not, could ask for a judicial review. And that way, the justices can get involved and review it and see if there's agreement. And if they disagree, they can overturn it or make it be change it to without or whatever. It didn't stop there necessarily. You have legal avenues that you can go. If you think that we did a bad job, you can file complaints against us for that. You have options that don't require violence. Now, during the meeting,
sorry, what meeting? This is the closed
hearing,
meeting.
The hearing. Robin Ferreira was there representing his clients, ADMC. Paul Hammerstein was there. Opal Price was there. Ruby York was there, as well as Arcadia and Arcadia Grayson and Archibald McNabb was there, and myself. So everybody was represented. Mr. Ferreira, during the course of events, he asked questions. He was present. He heard everything that was being said of what his clients were being, accused of, and we gave him the opportunity to, you know, do they want to, you know, be here? Do they want to say something? Do you want to talk to them? He said no. He said that they would not have anything to add to this. When you're counseled, as you know, your attorney is legally able to speak for you. It was his burden or his responsibility to say, give me a moment, let me see if I can contact my clients, or let's put a pause on this and reconvene after I've had a chance to talk to them. He didn't do that. He just unequivocally said, no, they won't have anything to say to this, which is what we referred to in the ruling. What I will say to you is that everybody can argue a ruling being good or bad, or agreeing with it or not agreeing with it. That's perfectly fine. That's how it's supposed to be. Just because somebody makes a ruling doesn't mean it's actually right or wrong. The thing that I try to get across, if people care to listen, is that you have to understand when you come to court, you can't come there expecting to win. And you have to also understand we weren't there. You may know exactly what happened because you were there. But what we can go on is what you bring to us. And then you have to argue your case. And then if it's a criminal case, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. And if it's civil, that burden is way, way, way lower. And it's just more likely than not. Is it more likely or not that this is what happened? And for us, it seemed more likely than not that the way things were described from the interrogation or the interview, whichever one you call it, with Paul, and the things that were said, and from witnesses that made statements about it, including a former mayor, Junior, that it's more likely than not that whatever the people that he spoke to on the yacht, which were ADMC members, and the people who came into Senior Buns later in the Redwood branded clothing, were likely the same people.
May I ask, was there evidence of this?
There was the recording of the interview. He reported it to the police.
Okay.
We found out about this on Monday.
And this was in the closed hearing. Is this something that the defense had access to?
Everybody had access to it.
How is how is it submitted?
Opal did.
Yeah, but was it like submitted on the docket? Was it like
it was, I believe, shared at that time. I have to check to be sure about it, but
okay.
Everybody in that room for that meeting had access to the report and the recordings.
I see. So this is a closed pre-trial hearing? I'm trying to get context here because I'm not fully appraised on everything.
Would be in that capacity, I would say, of a hearing. It was about the motion for a potential mistrial.
Okay. So it was a pre-trial hearing?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the trial wasn't. We were still. We were up until that.
Understood. Okay, I got you. I bear in mind I'm, I know some amount of it. I haven't gone through the docket. This kind of helps me frame timeline and events a bit more appropriately. So in this hearing, my understanding is that Opal Price entered evidence in?
Yeah.
Okay. And that evidence was that of a recording, and
it was Paul Hammerstein's own testimony of what happened. Not testimony, but his own explanation of what was done to him.
I see.
He said it there in the meeting. And then there was also the recordings that we had to review from when he spoke to the police about the incident that happened.
Okay. Yeah. So Paul was in there, but in addition, there was a recording of Paul submitted by Opal Price.
Yes.
Okay. And who?
It was Haley Maxwell and Lex Stryker were the officers involved.
I see.
With the interview.
Who initiated that report?
I don't remember offhand. I don't have it.
But it would be entered in evidence?
Yes.
Have these been submitted to the ruling? Like, is this evidence now available on the docket?
It should be. I don't. Well, I think the docket was locked. So I would have to unlock it. But we
I
can
ask
get
only
it
so
if
that
it's
I can
unlocked.
like review the context, right? Because
I'm not sure.
yeah, okay.
I can't answer. I don't want to say yes and then
I
it's not.
understood. No, and that's perfectly fine. Is that something that should be on there? And I don't. I presume it should be, but I'm not. You know.
Well, nobody motioned to seal anything. So if it's not, if no one wants it to be sealed and they want to enter it as evidence, it should be.
Okay. And I say so once again to get a sense of everything, because if it were to get to be appealed and given that some of what's happening may be a, connected to this, I Redwoods, hold on. I'm trying to, was anyone, I'm going to look this up. I'm gonna be cautious here. I'm not going to I'm only pulling it up for myself and Ruth. Let me see. Opal price. I don't see anything. What is the attorney's name again?
Paul Hammerstein.
Ah, okay. Give me just one sec.
If you need a break, you can take a break. Okay, go ahead.
Beside this,
If you need a break, you can take a break. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Today is the 17th of October, 2000.
Okay, all right. I've found it. Were there any arrests? Okay, I don't want to go deep into this. But so my understanding is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that this interrogation, in conjunction with a statement made by Paul Hammerstein, was the primary, thing that led to the dismissal. Was it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask just this is, I'm not trying to cast any opinion on this. This is for my own understanding. Especially what I do understand is that this ruling is what's caused the agitation, right? And that's going to happen.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I by no means, you can be as mad as you want once, if you're utilizing violence to express yourself, that's cooked and wrong. It's illegal. But, I'm trying to understand the grievance here.
The grievance is that the mistrial was issued or granted, and it was with prejudice, which meant that they wouldn't be able to file it again, technically. But you can appeal it, and if not appealed, then there's also the option of a judicial review, which you would be able to have basically the justices look at it and say, what are they doing? What is this? And then the justices can look at it and be like, yeah, they did that right. Or, okay, yeah, I see the issue. Yeah, that shouldn't have been done. And then overturn it or adjust it or amend it somehow. That is what my issue is this. You don't have to agree with the verdict, how we got there. That's perfectly fine. That's understandable. You have avenues available to you if that's how you feel. You can file a complaint against myself and the other two saying we don't know what we're doing, we shouldn't be judges, all that good stuff. You can also take it up in other ways. You have things available to you that don't require me taking bullets. And I'm doing my job. You may not like the verdict, but I wasn't disrespectful to you. I wasn't in any way, shape, or form belittling anything that happened that you're justifiably upset about, meaning the destruction of the memorials that they had. But we were on schedule to get that day in court. them choosing to interact with defense counsel in that way is what turned everything upside down. Now,
Mhm.
anyone can argue that they don't think so, that it wasn't. I understand that that's your interpretation of, not you, but that's somebody else's interpretation, that it may not, it didn't need to be all this. The problem is that when you bring something to court, you're coming to a place where we have to follow the restrictions that are applied to us, and we're all different, so people can interpret it different ways, and that's fine. But you have to know that if you're in an active case, you're on this side, Paul is on the other side defending the person that you're suing, or one of the people that you're suing. Interacting with him that way and offering him anything is 100% no.
But so let me
Because
ask
then
you.
you're trusting that we're just going to have to believe that you didn't mean anything, or that wasn't what. That's not. We can't do that.
No, and I understand that. So I need to ask some clarifying questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Was Finley Milton, isn't the case against Finley?
It's ADMC. It's ADMC versus Miller and LSPD.
What does that
also, the
mean?
mayor's office was. I think they have specific. Well, it's not. I think it's them.
I'm trying to find it. I don't
suing
see it.
them. The ADMC, they're not the ones being sued. They're the ones bringing the case.
Yeah, but what is ADMC?
It's
I know what it is. I mean, but what is that legally?
They are, I guess, an established group in the city. Specifically, the people, I guess, representing in the case, they're the
But ADMC can't
probably,
file a case, right?
Whoever is on the dock, which I don't remember offhand right now, because I'm not signed in, so I can't look at the MDT or anything right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the. Where is this case? Must be blind.
No, you're not. You're not. I didn't move it to closed yet, unless Archie or Arcadia did.
Oh, I see it now. Yep.
I was going to do.
The plaintiff is Finley Miller, Shang Lu, Cora Star, Luna Purpose. Additional plaintiffs may be added.
Yeah.
This is just my thing. I'm confused by this filing. I'm surprised it wasn't forced to be resubmitted. It was probably for the lulz, but that's why I asked, what is ADMC, right? It's not it's not an organization. I know what it is. I know colloquially what it is, but when it comes to a posting, I want to know what it means, right?
Right.
Especially, this looks like a class action, right? Class actions have its own format, or should have its own format, because this docket is okay. I don't want to get too much into the pedantics, but was Finley, Shang, Cora, or Luna a subject of these tapes and allegations?
Shang was.
Shang was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was the claim that was made by...
That he offered protection to Paul.
Against Redwood?
Yes.
So, okay, now, and this is gonna... Ava, I trust you enough to know that I'm not, meaning something other than what I'm directly asking. Why can Shang not interact with a defense attorney for a case that spanned 4 months?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Why can't,
why can't he
interact?
It's not about interacting. It's about offering him something beneficial.
But
if you're okay, put it like this: if I am your lawyer, if you hire me to be your lawyer for something, and I'm representing you, so I'm supposed to be taking care of your interests. If the person who's suing you or people that are suing you then meet up with me and I voluntarily go and hang out with them, there's no initial issue with that. But then I start telling them all my problems, my debt, how, stressed out I am, all this stuff, and then they offer to help me with my problems. How does that make you feel about my ability to represent you properly if I am doing that while you have an active case going on with it?
The reason I ask that is this is more of like, how does the judiciary, maybe this is a case by case basis, which I presume it is, but the reason I'm asking this specifically is by that standard, I can understand it in New York or Boston or California. How do you do that in San Andreas? Because if that litmus test was utilized for anything, if I have an active case against Ruth, as an example, how do I do anything with her where San Andreas fundamentally is our entire economy and our way of life is bartering, is
especially over a long period of time.
Yeah.
What's the long period of time that you're talking about?
I believe the case was up for at least like anything more than like a week in
Yeah,
Los
this
Santos
is 2
pretty much
months.
a pretty long time.
This happened in October.
Isn't it August 29th?
No, what we're talking about, the whole, this happened this didn't happen months ago.
No, but what we're saying is like you would expect somebody to never have contact with that individual over the entire
It's
course
not
of the
having
lawsuit.
contact. It's not having contact. It's offering something.
But so let me.
That can be seen as bribery, can be seen as coercion. And then to follow that up, to have another encounter with suddenly Redwood individuals, there's no evidence anywhere that suggests in any way, shape, or form that the Redwood Cigarette Company has any interest in this case that the between ADMC and Miller and LSPD. So why would these people be asking questions about who got your client to do this, and in the end, did it better go good?
Isn't that for the cops to prove?
This is the thing. If you're bringing it to the court as a reason for a potential mistrial to happen, the issue at hand, if you can entertain it, is that if I'm representing you and somebody is offering to help me out of debt or to protect me from potential danger, that compromises the integrity of the whole case. It's like you can't trust, even if you're not going to do anything.
Is this not hearsay though?
This is what I'm going to say. And I don't mean to be short, but this is what I'm going to say about that. I already said, if anybody has an issue with anything that happens with a ruling, you disagree with it, you don't understand it, you think it's wrong, I am fine with that. I am fine with that. There's an avenue available for that, to complain, to make an issue of it, to appeal it, to have the justices look at it. That's all doable. And if I'm wrong, I'm perfectly fine with saying that or taking the hit if that's the case. So all of that other stuff and figuring out all the stuff, I am fine with it being looked at. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. And if it's not, it's not. My issue is not agreeing with a ruling does not give anybody the right to keep me hostage in my home, because if I go outside, I'm going to be hunted and either kidnapped or shot.
Absolutely.
That's what my issue is. The other part of it, I have no problem with anybody going over it with a fine-tooth comb. And if they think I'm wrong and we got it wrong, that's fine.
You're absolutely right about that,
I can take the hit for that if that's the case.
I don't think anyone.
But right now, what it is I am out of the ICU and I am home. I go out for a food run, and then I see somebody coming from outside, going to the pizza stall, open it up, come back out, get on their phone. We leave, and we get to the parking structure, second floor. and there's a car there, and then as soon as we get to the car, they block the exit for us to get out, and then we have to go up, and they're chasing us, and then we get up to the top level, and then I guess they figure we have no place else to go. Somebody gets out of the car. I don't know if they're going to shoot or if they're going to try to take. I don't know what's going on, but Sophia, she just hauled ass, put the pedal to the metal on that, and we literally drove off. I had to be driven off the roof of a parking structure to avoid whatever was being planned for me in that situation. Shang told me when he had me there that I would never be safe again because you disagree with a ruling. I heard from Roman Atlas yesterday that he talked to somebody. I think he said they were part of ADMC. And some of the reasonings they gave for whatever was one, they didn't have a say. And that is not true. Their attorney was there, and he had the opportunity to bring them in, and he said no. So if you're mad that you didn't get to say something in real time, talk to your lawyer about that. That's a you and Robin issue. That has nothing to do with us. You had the opportunity. He took it away from you. He spoke for you. The other thing was Arcadia saying that they have an issue with her because they had some incidents with her and her sister. Arcadia has been on the case for months, and nobody has ever put in any motion for her to recuse herself because of any potential conflict. Nobody. We had pretrial hearings in court where Shang was there, Finley was there, Robin was there. Nobody said anything, and Arcadia was certainly there. I am perfectly fine with people not liking a ruling, not agreeing with it. I am not fine with not being able to leave my house because you're mad. The person that you think did whatever you think they did is walking around doing his job, living his life. But the person, one of three people who put a ruling that you disagree with, that you dislike, is being kidnapped, shot, and terrorized because I can't leave my house, because then what's going to happen to me? That is all I'm concerned about right now. Pick apart any judgment I make on anything. That's fine with me. I am fine with taking the hit if I'm wrong. I can accept it if I'm wrong. What I cannot accept is not being able to leave my home. Not being able to be with my friends outside because being afraid that if somebody's coming for me, they might get hurt. You don't know me very well, but I try to be as fair as I can. I think about every decision, and I really, really do spend time on it. That doesn't mean I'm going to get it right every time, but I try my best. I lived my life since I moved here to avoid.
It's not. She
making
has to
myself
answer the
somebody that
rest.
any gang or any MC feels they need to deal with. I don't talk shit. I don't do anything disrespectful.
She's
that's
not
gonna make me have to
here's
face
the thing,
consequence
chat.
I'm
No
not
matter
prepared to
how
deal
she
with.
feels, at the end of the day,
So
she's subjected to these
how am I now
questions.
just because I did my job?
It may
even if you don't
feel
agree with it,
icky
how
or
is
may
it just
feel
for me doing my job
unprofessional,
that you brought to
but
court?
you're not
If you
allowed
didn't
to
want to deal with
ignore
what the
your
court
own
could
wrongdoings
potentially
either.
do,
You know what I
why
mean?
on earth did you bring it?
Okay. So as far as you're not wrong that based on a ruling does not subject anyone to violence, as it does not subject law enforcement to violence if someone doesn't like an arrest.
Exactly.
However, Ava, I hope you understand we need to understand the full scope of this situation. And while you are a victim of this immediate assertion of what happened, right? And we're taking the report.
Mm-hmm.
We as the marshals need to understand the full scope of things.
That's fine.
Even if these questions may be uncomfortable, right?
They're not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I've answered them to the best of my ability at this point. I don't know what else I can say. That's the ruling that we came to because of that situation. That was it. If people look at it, if you look at it, if the justices look at it and feel like we got it wrong or there was something that was done that shouldn't have been done, I'm perfectly fine with accepting, whatever consequence or punishment comes because of that. That's okay with me.
I don't think anyone's recommending there's punishments or anything along those lines. However, I need to understand the full scope of things.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm only looking at the I am not it would be bad faith on me to simply take the ask you questions that only place your immediate claim as the only evidence by which I go and make an arrest, right?
Which claim?
They chased you down from the white garage, right? And you had to take the jump. Without understanding the full scope of things, we aren't doing our job, right?
Okay.
So I need to ask you the question again. The ruling that was made, because keep in mind, this is what was stated to. I don't want to go too deep into why I'm asking these questions, but I'll keep it simple, right? I need to understand fully what happened in that room, because without knowing what occurred in that room, when I go and interface with the other parties and I'm not equipped with that information, I'm now not able to fully complete my job, right?
No, I understand. I just don't know how else to answer it.
Well, I'll ask you again. There was a tape submitted, right? 2 interrogations. Junior Huntley
report, I think,
and Paul
one
Hammerstein.
Junior and one with Paul Hammerstein, yeah.
Correct. And
like
Hammerstein made
long,
some
and the other one, like,
statements, right? Was there, how is it, what I'm trying to understand is, was that seen as more than hearsay?
It's not hearsay if it happened to Paul. Nobody's telling him about it. He's saying that this is what happened.
Okay, but what if how do you know, what if he had said it? Huh?
Paul was very clear in 2 ways, from the tape and from the questions that he was asked in the room by myself, Arcadia, and also Robin. Robin did ask him questions. It really stemmed more on like why, because I wanted to know if my biggest question was trying to find out like why, if he contacted his client.
So is that under oath
happened.
statement?
Yeah, I mean it's an extension of the proceedings to talk about it, but
No, I understand. But was Hammerstein under oath?
Nobody took an oath while we were in there. No.
So what? So just as a hypothetical, and the reason I'm asking like whether it's hearsay, just so you understand my position if I'm wrong from a legal perspective as to the categorization of it. But I'm not a judge. What if he said Super Mario kidnapped me, right? What elevated the legitimacy of his claim?
Hearsay would have been if he was saying that he heard that this happened. This happened to him. So he's retelling what happened to him. If somebody else was there and was saying, well, I heard that this is what happened when he got, I heard Paul was taken from this and that. You can't speak on what somebody else told you, like about something. You can speak on it if it's you.
Yeah, but
if you're a party to it.
So maybe this is my own confusion. But he could have said anything, right?
He could have.
So I'm basing it as saying it's hearsay simply because not under oath, and he just said something, right?
Well, we also have the police statements that he made to them.
Oh, there was police statements as well.
Yeah.
You mean the interrogation?
The the 45-minute one. That's the he when everything happened, he spoke to the police about what had happened to him, the kidnapping and all that, and then he told them everything that happened from the yacht and then getting kidnapped from Senior Buns and all of that. And they did Mirandize him. So when we were in the room talking about wanting to hear what exactly happened, our question was also, why did it take so long for the court to be notified of any of this? And that's when, he was just, saying it again. And then when we reviewed the recordings, they lined up with that. And the issue with it being a civil matter is that the burden of proof isn't beyond a reasonable doubt. It's more likely than not. So when we see that and we have that information and we're giving the other party an opportunity to respond and we're not told we'll get back to you or we'll reconvene when everybody else, the other side's counsel is saying no, there is nothing they're going to add to this. We have to then take what we have. This is what we have. This is the basically testimony of the victim that also happens to be defense counsel in this case, and what he's saying happened, the recordings from his interaction with the police describing the same events, what somebody else who witnessed it saw, and then say, okay, with what we have, it seems more likely than not that this was a continuation from the yacht because the same issues or matters were being discussed, and also the matters being discussed by the Redwood people or the ones dressed in Redwood branded clothing. We're talking about things that had nothing to do with his Redwood debt. We're talking about a case that has nothing to do with them, and wanting to know information about that case, about what his client did or did not do on the instruction or lack of instruction from his higher ups, and if so, who, and then indicating that it better go a certain way. Redwood, there's nothing that says that they would have an interest in the outcome of that case or that information. So ADMC would. And that is why it seems more likely than not that they were the same group of people in both situations. And if that's the case, that is an egregious act when there is an ongoing case where they are plaintiffs and the other side are defendants, or somebody's representing the defense. It is not something that you can treat lightly because it does interfere with somebody's right to due process. And that's how we reviewed it, and that's how we looked at it.
Okay. Have any of the members of ADMC contacted you sort of explaining their dissatisfaction? And if so, who in
No.
particular?
Well, yes and no. Not dissatisfaction. I have been very sick, and I literally got out of bed and dragged myself to that meeting. And then once it was done, I very shortly after came right back here and went right back to bed. I found out the next day, whenever that apparently there was some twatter activity where apparently threats were made. I didn't see them. Nobody sent me any screenshots or anything. I was told Arcadia made a comment very shortly after the ruling was put on the docket, something to the effect of consequences for actions, I think. But someone else referred to that as poking the bear kind of thing, but I didn't see it. So I can't say for sure that that happened. I also can't say what kind of threats were made because, again, I didn't see it, but I was told about it the next day, I believe. That day that the verdict went in, before I went to bed, I got a call from Luna. I think I told you that. And she's somebody who used to date my brother. They are no longer together, but She was very friendly with me when she moved back, and we have communication that was always pleasant. And she said she was just like checking on me or whatever. And I even said in my conversation, it seems odd that suddenly, on this day, I haven't talked to you in a while, and now. And she said, "Well, I didn't know anything." So I foolishly believed her, and that was that. And then the next day, I was supposed to do a it was like a training class for the scouts, the jungle scouts, and I was a bit late getting there. And then once we finally did get there, I got hold on. I got a text from because that was the day I had spoke to you, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, and I think Chris, trying to figure out a way to get a meeting set up so we could discuss it, because Shang had called me and said he had texted me 3 days ago. Someone had texted me. I didn't have Shang's number. I got a phone call while I was in the class. I had my ringer off, so I texted the person back. I'm in a class. Can you text me? And I had spoken to Tally Marks earlier. She's the girlfriend of a good friend of mine, so we've been talking a couple times recently regarding that. And so I reached out to her, I think at some point, to say that I'm willing to explain it, because I was told that Shang had put something on Twitter asking for somebody from DOJ to explain the, I think, shit ruling or whatever it was. And she said she would let him know. And then that was it. So he did text me. And when I didn't know who it was, I said, I'm in a class. Can you text me? And then he answered back, I heard you wanted to talk. Call back when you're free. And that was the day that I called, I think, you, to see if you could arrange. And you said to give you 30 minutes and then we'd be there. So I left there to go there. And I was going to call him or text him back and say, we have can meet up in 30 minutes to do it. But as soon as I walked out the front, that he was there with another person, a woman, and he pretended to be asking if the class was over, and we said no, and we said yeah, it just ended. No, if we are we, am I too late for the class? And we said yeah, it just ended. And he said, oh, it doesn't matter. And then he pulled out a very big gun. Both of them did, and they said, come with us, come with us. And
What
I
day
still
was
did.
this?
This was 3 days ago, and Lolly Lulela, she was standing there with Patrick Dassault and I, and she had an incident or something apparently with them recently. So she started to go, and then they said no, not you, and me. They wanted me, so then I went, and then they told me to go, and they had me going around Court Center for a bit. I think they were trying to find out where the car was. They had me jump over a railing, I guess, or a barrier, and the car was there, and Benny Razor was driving it. And then the woman, who I don't know who she was, but she was asking me questions about the class and what did they teach you, and I answered. I answered because what am I going to do? And uh, Chang got in the back. She got in the back. I got in the front next to Benny, I believe. They drove us a ways, and then there was another car. Uh, Benny and the other woman left. Shang got out, told me to get out, and then Luna, Sakura, was in the other car, and it was a two-seater or whatever, or whatever they wanted me to get in the trunk. I went to the back to try to get in the trunk, but it was one of those weird cars that has the trunk in the front, so I had to get in to the front, and that's what we did. And then drove somewhere, and then I was told to get out of the car, and I did. And then he ran up the hill that we were on a bit, and then a few seconds later, Luna Sakura says to get back in the trunk. What I do know from knowing Sakura before is that she he outranks her in that group. So he told me to get out, and she's telling me again. So I said, okay, he told me to get out. You're telling me to get in. Who am I listening to? And then she was like slowly saying, get back in the car trunk. And I'm same issue. I'm not going to. He's not telling me to because I am more concerned that he's just gonna because he's angry. You know, he's already told me that nothing I've said come to fruition. When I asked him what did I say that didn't come to fruition, he didn't have an answer. And then he's saying that I only wanted the meeting with you there so I could feel safe. And I said, what safety am
With
I going to
me?
feel? Yeah.
Okay.
Because the march, you had said you had told me to give you 30 minutes and then you would be there. And then you said you were going to be bringing iced tea.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, excuse me. I
I
told
forgot
him,
this is patterned, right?
yeah. And I'm so sorry. My throat is giving me. Sorry. So then I told him that safety, whatever, would only be really for the duration of that meeting, and then I'd be out in the world like normal. So what safety could I say? I don't ever feel safe like that. And then he proceeded to tell me that I would never feel safe again. I would never be safe again. Anyway, that happened before. The trunk. So when he comes running back, he's telling me to get in the trunk too. So as we've established already, it's a frunk. So they put me in the trunk of that car previously, and I had to get in the front. Told me to get back in. I went around the front. He starts telling me, Ava, don't you dare. Ava, don't you better. And he goes, you know what? I'm sick of this shit. Fuck this. And then he shot me. Shot me for doing what he told me, getting in the trunk, which I had to enter from the front, which he saw me do that before. So yeah, that was it. And then somewhere in there, a police car showed up and they proceeded to start shooting at the police car. I don't know who was in it. And then they
So
drove
they
away.
have been arrested, and I don't want to sort of jump ahead. I've got, I've got like a way of looking at things, right? Specifically, I'm trying to timeline this in my mind. This particular thing you're describing, they have been arrested. They have been charged for that incident. After the 28th, which was, 3 days ago, the one that you're referencing, what have they done after that?
I don't know what they've done. I don't know who it is because I was told yesterday morning by Roman that it's not just the ADMC that are angry about the ruling, and it has to do with the memorials. And yeah, so I don't know who it was. I know that when we went for a food run yesterday, that's what happened that I explained before, is that we were at the noodle shop getting food, and one of the doctors at the hospital was also working there, and she was talking to Sophia about potentially maybe commissioning something from her place, McMoose. And while they were talking, I saw the gentleman walk in, and he went to the pizza place. And I know that the pizza place is owned or at least run by ADMC. So that made me nervous. And then he went in, he opened the gate, he came back out, and then he got on the phone. And I thought I'm maybe being paranoid, but just I want to go. So we left and we ran by him. Nobody said anything to me. But then when we got to the garage to where we were parked, there
Who is
was,
this?
I'm sorry?
Who was it that opened
I
the
don't
pizza
know.
place?
I don't know. I don't know his name. So we went to the garage to get in the car. We were on the second floor, and when we got there, there was a like a I want to say like a gray or blue gray like muscle car that was kind of parked uh, sideways against the wall or something. And then when we got there and got in the car, they moved it to the exit and put it on a diagonal so you couldn't go by. And then we now see we can't get out that way, so the only place we can go is up. And then they proceeded to chase us up, you know, the um the levels until we got to the top, and then we drove, I guess, about to the middle. And then when they came up, they stayed like closer to the other one. I feel like it was blocking it so that if we turned around, they would still be blocking the way down. And then the driver got out, and we didn't wait to see if they were going to shoot or whatever, but they knew. They had no, I mean, it's like nobody had a gun, like, put your hands up, or we were there before by the car before we got in. If it was just, for a hostage for something, they had time to come and do that. And then she just put the pedal to the, hit the gas and just went. And we had to drive off the roof, the top level of the senior buns garage.
Is there any evidence that this was the primary evidence? What were they driving?
I'm sorry?
What were these individuals driving?
I said it was like a gray or like a blue gray, like muscle car. I don't know cars like that, so I couldn't tell you what
the
model it was,
individual
just
that opened and closed a
it's
pizza
type of
shop.
car.
Did they? Were they involved? Did you see them get in the car or be one of the individuals?
No, what I saw was somebody pass by us and go to the pizza shop and open it up, and then he came back out after he, opened the gate and everything. He came back out and was kind of staying there, and then he got on the phone. And I was thinking I'm maybe being paranoid. I knew that they own that place or they run that place, and I was already, had just been shot down, so I wasn't trying to have a repeat. So I just want to just to go. And then we went out, and then the same thing I said happened. That there was a car there that was kind of parked one way, and then as soon as we got there in the car, then it went and put itself on a slant, so you can't pass it. And then we just went up, and then that's what happened after. I already said.
So I think at this stage, it's sort of important for me to understand what is it that, like, what is your, I'm glad you were letting us know so we can monitor, right? But is there something in particular you're sort of expecting come out of this from the marshals? And the reason I ask is I'm just being rather transparent, right? They were involved with hurting you and kidnapping you 3 days ago, right? And they've gone to jail for that. Based on what you've kind of stated here, there isn't too much actionable for us. We can certainly go speak with them, but with that comes risk, right? If they were not involved and we're now pressing them and being like, hey, like and even if we don't do it directly, right? It's going to be obvious when questions come up. That could further agitate them if it was them, right?
And we do have this like fully documented as well, so if anything else comes up, we can act on it.
So I understand. So basically, what has to happen is, it's not a perfect system, but I have to just go out, and if they kidnap me, if they shoot me, then basically something has to happen.
The challenge here too is there isn't, I don't want to go into the specifics of charges, right? There are some that it could land on, right? But I don't want to go into the specifics. Nor do I advise. I'm not going to advise you to say, "Hey, go out there. You're going to be safe." Right? That's insane. We're in San Andreas. You could go outside and you get kidnapped by any random gang, right? For me right now, understanding the full scope of the grievances goes a long way, because I do believe that there is room for mediation. And I bring that up because arrests are not the only thing that resolve police matters, right? Sometimes literally conversation works as well, even though I know some people find that cringe. It's quite literally what law enforcement does, honestly. Right? All around the fucking world. And
not wrong, if you remember, and I know you have a lot going on, so I don't expect you to remember everything, but I did try the conversation route before.
Sometimes it needs a mediator, right? And I'm not saying
sometimes
I'm
it
going to
needs to cool a bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't. I don't like being scared. I don't like. I don't like it. It's a very. I know that we live in a place where people get shot all the time. People and then just kind of bounce back like nothing, and then even people are kikiing with each other like 2 minutes later. Like, yeah, I'm not like that. It's a very different thing.
I totally
being,
understand. I
do you know what I
do.
mean?
I'm
Being
not.
shot
We are
because you're
never
part of
going
a
to
robbery or
advise you
something.
to put your life on the line. Myself and Ruth are very big proponents of. Oh, I think Shang wants to meet. He's calling me right now. Do you? We should do this off recording. I will. I'll call him back afterwards.
You can answer.
No, because this might be a matter of record. And that needs to be done separately.
Okay.
I do need to go back to what happened inside those chambers. Well, not inside those chambers, but rather some specifics around it, because there is what's happening to you. There are other things that are coming across our desk, right? And I need to understand the scope of it. I've spoken to Arcadia Grayson. I've spoken to Robin, right? And this is for, once again, understand the full scope of things, because there's a lot of things and accusations being thrown around, and if I don't have a full picture, I can't look at it. I can't assess it properly because I was never there, right?
No, I understand.
So have
the same
they
thing like what I said about the cases? You don't have all the things because you weren't there. So everybody who's telling you stuff has to give you as much information as they can.
exactly right.
Make the most informed decision
Right.
possible.
And then Ruth and I also take what different parties are saying and sort of compare, right? It's like looking at Fox News, looking at CNN, right? Looking at AP, looking at Bloomberg, and being like, okay, what really happened?
Yeah.
Reality is none of it happened, right? It's all AI.
What?
Yeah.
Topic
so-
for another day.
Jeez.
So
I understand. I mean, my only issue right now is that I am scared. And I don't know what to do with that. Like I feel like my hands are tied. And I don't know. And
Okay.
I do understand that nothing besides the initial situation has, provably happened.
Well, so let
I'm
me
just
ask
afraid of anything else.
If I could please ask some of the direct questions, because, and I do appreciate you giving us some of the background to it, but there's some very particular questions around an area that there's a lot of, let's just say, I'm getting very controversial, conflicting statements around this. So I want to ask very particularly, was the tape the one with the lawyer Paul Hammerstein, was that in evidence, or was that thrown out?
No, it wasn't thrown out. But like I said, I was not well that day. I put I posted the verdict because I was, it was technically my case, and the other two entered in after the fact. So that's what I did, and then I.
So it was a part of the ruling.
The reason for
Okay,
so it should be
not just the statement.
What?
So, like I said, this is where the conflicting bit, because I have been told that it was thrown out.
What was thrown out?
The tape. that the tape was not a part of the evidence used to make the ruling?
There was two. There was the one with Junior saying I guess what he saw,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was what sorry, there was Paul's um I forget
His interrogation.
yes, that
And who were the
we
officers in
watched.
the interrogation one, if you
Well,
recall?
wait 1 second,
Let's
Ruth.
strike.
But I'm still not getting an answer to this, and maybe I'm missing it. There was Junior's tape, and then there was Paul's interview tape. Were they both a part of evidence, or was one thrown out? Were both thrown out? Which one of those were those two interrogation tapes entered into evidence? Were they used as a part of the ruling at the end?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember offhand. I would have to look at the notes to remember. I believe there was something about juniors because it really didn't offer anything
So
new. That
Junior's was
wasn't.
thrown out?
I think so. I have to check the notes to be sure.
Is there any way that Paul's was thrown out?
I don't want to say yes or no because I don't remember for sure.
Okay.
I would say I don't think so.
Do you have
Because we
access
kind
to your
of-
notes?
Oh, huh?
You have access to your notes right now?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't right this minute. I'm not.
Because the
sorry.
reason I'm asking that very specifically
You
is
can ask
earlier.
Archie.
Well, no, I'm asking you, right? And
I don't have. He's the one who took the notes. I'm saying he would probably be able to get it to you faster than me because I still have to ask him.
I see. I have to ask you all separately, right?
Oh, okay. No problem.
And the reason is earlier you stated that it was used, right? And I'm not trying to get you on a gotcha here, right? And if you're
no,
saying,
it's not a
you know,
gotcha.
might be
We reviewed it. We had to watch both of them to see. And what we found, I remember, was that what was being said in those interviews were coinciding with what Paul was saying right there.
So the reason I say it is another judge
Mm-hmm.
has told us that it was thrown out, right? And I get it. Look, we can go back and reference it at a certain point. And the reason why this is why I'm asking these questions, right? If you're saying one thing, someone is saying another. It may be a mismemory of things, right? But I have to judge. I have to, you know, weigh the disparity accordingly.
No, I understand, but I honestly don't remember offhand.
Yeah.
I just know we reviewed them, and they coincided with what was being said there. I believe I remember not really needing the one with Junior because it didn't really offer anything to it. Like there was nothing new or nothing. It just wasn't really anything to it. So that's what I remember with that. I don't want to say that yes we did or we didn't for the other one because I have to check the notes because like I said I was sick.
And this
Woke
is
up for that and then went right back to bed. So
were
I
you
don't wanna
of
say yes or
sound
no.
mind when you made that ruling?
Yeah, I was just sick. It's a cold.
Yeah. Okay. I'm only asking just because, right? Look, I have to be
I wasn't
fair
on
here,
medication or anything. I just
Yeah.
felt like shit.
and I'm asking that I'm gonna be fully transparent here, right? It's a 3-month. Like the case was. This is spanning 3-4 months now, right? It goes to trial, and I get it. Resources, this, that, and the third. Totally get that. But you know, the court case was on Monday, so that would be about 4 days ago. 4 days, 4.5 days, 5 days, right?
Mhm.
Roughly. And the determination was to throw out the case, not throw out the case, but to rule it as a mistrial with prejudice
Mhm.
based on a statement by by Hammerstein
Mm-hmm.
and 2 tapes. And so I would, you know, am I correct in saying that those were the main things that threw it out? It was his
That is
statement
what
and the
was
tape?
brought, and then he made his statements when he was questioned about the situation from Arcadia, myself, and Robin as well. So
But
I
and the
don't want
reason
to say for sure because that the notes were there for that reason to be able to like refresh the memory and everything.
right.
But at this point,
Would it be
between
it's
now and
probably
then,
close like what those 2 things would there have been like reasonably a 3rd thing or a 4th thing that was
it's
entered?
it. I have to check the notes again to be sure, but if it's anything, it would be that we didn't need to use the tapes because the information that we got directly from Paul right there said it, and the tape just, or the interview just kind of lined up exactly with what he was saying there. So
Right.
if that's it, then that is what was agreed upon when we discussed it after
When
hearing
you
everything.
when
And
there's
we
a
weren't gonna.
sorry, go ahead.
That's just other thing. We weren't gonna get anything from uh, um, the plaintiffs because Mr. Ferrara said very clearly that they were not going to be offering anything to it. So
Understood.
that's why there was nothing else to be kind of.
Yeah. So when you guys function as a panel, once again, this is my ignorance showing. Do you independently make a decision and then the best decision wins? How does a panel work?
No, it's if you come to an agreement, or you can. If 2 people come to an agreement and you feel like you really can't get on it, then you could dissent. You can have a dissenting opinion, but it's not going to change it, but it'll be effectively on the record still so that it could still be used as part of the ruling that, this judge, of the panel, 2 judges felt, this, and that. The 3rd judge, dissents because they don't agree with this or that, and that's it. So you have it so that you can use it if you appeal that yeah, this is it, but yeah, but this judge didn't, so this is also there, but it's not the ruling. It's just a
Is
dissenting
is it
opinion.
is it appropriate? Can I ask, was your opinion, what was your opinion?
I initially did not want the mistrial.
Okay. And
I
then did
thought
you
it was
finally
more of an
agree to it,
issue.
or did you
I
dissent,
thought
or?
I thought it was more of an issue with Paul um, providing ineffective assistance of counsel by engaging voluntarily in any kind of anything that entertained any kind of um, offer and acceptance from members of the opposing side during an ongoing case.
I see.
But I did acquiesce at the end because I felt it was absolutely egregious to do anything that interfered with the uninterfered, you know, uh, workings of court. Like, don't offer to do anything. Don't offer protection. Don't offer anything to opposing counsel during an ongoing case. And I understand it's been waiting for months, but this situation wasn't 3 months old.
And I understand that, and I
Yeah.
want to make sure we don't stray too far off my questions, only because
Did I not answer it?
No, you did, and
Okay.
I don't want to get too far ahead as to what did Robin potentially do or whatever. So wait,
Just don't let me ramble because I can do that if
it's
I don't hear anything from anybody.
understood. I'll keep that in mind. I didn't want to like interrupt either, but I'll keep that.
Well, I have Asperger's, so if you don't, I'm going to keep going
Hey.
until I run out of different ways to say the same thing.
Understood.
So I would like
So
to
did
stop
you-
if you already got it.
Did you agree to the affirmative that to the motion for prejudice, or did you dissent,
sorry.
or
Can you repeat it again?
yeah, did you, like, I'm assuming it's like a vote between you 3, right? Is that accurate?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like that. We talk
Were
about
you
it
on the
and
yes, let's do a motion for mistrial with prejudice?
not initially, no.
But what was your ultimate?
I was convinced that it was true that the issue at hand that was
Did all
most
three of you have the same opinion at the end?
Um, at the end, it was yeah. At the end, we kind of just got on the same page at the end, yeah. But in the
So,
beginning, there was
so let me understand this,
differences of
and
opinion.
this, I know this might sound like very pedantic, but
What?
there's a panel of three, right? I
Mhm.
presume each person's thinking it's either A, B, and C. Someone else is thinking maybe B and C, right? The third person might be thinking F and G, right? They all have their opinions, but ultimately, at least two out of the three have to agree on something. I would presume. Is that accurate?
Right. But if you
So did
have,
y'all three agree, or
if you have, yeah, I said we got on the same page at the end, but in
I
the
see.
beginning part, I was not, and that is something I changed.
So
When
is it
you are on it,
unanimous?
yeah, when you are on it and you have, well, let me just be clear. If you're on a panel and you decide that you just do not agree, then you can offer a dissenting opinion. It's your the majority is already gonna, do what they're gonna do, but you're just offering your take on the situation, even though it's not going to be what the ruling is. And
Is
that happens
this,
sometimes, but that's when you are absolutely
that's what a
adamant.
dissent is, when you're like, I
Yeah,
don't agree
when
with
you're
the two.
exactly, and you can't get them. But what happened in this case
Understood.
was I was of a different opinion, but after discussing it and hearing the, I don't want to say argument, but for hearing the other opinions and the other perspectives of it, then I could see where my perspective maybe was a little bit too narrow and maybe too narrowly focused on Paul and what I believed he failed to do. And I opened up my scope and could see where it was overall, a
I
bigger issue
get you.
of the process being compromised and that
Understood.
being more egregious. So
Is Paul
yeah,
losing his bar license?
I don't think, and I don't, I'm going to be so honest with you. I have been here and I haven't even been on duty in any substantial way since, because I can't do anything. So I really don't know what's been going on. I haven't heard anything about that.
Well, so I'm only asking because if we're taking his testimony, right?
Mhm.
So there's a couple things here, right, that I'm asking for, and I'm not telling you to do this. This is just very clear for the record. I don't know shit all about like what happens behind closed doors, hence all these very particular questions, because I don't know how the panel functions. I don't. Maybe it's written somewhere. I am unaware. I'm getting a better understanding now.
Okay.
But I am understanding just kind of from the basics, right, that Paul's statement
sorry.
was
Give me a moment.
entered. Yep, absolutely.
I apologize, but I have to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
sorry. Pardon me.
No, go right ahead.
I apologize. Very hungry.
So, Paul's statement that he made not under oath was taken into consideration, right? So
Well, what he said in the hearing, for sure, yes. I would have to check the notes to see it could have just been that the recording of the interview, I
sure,
guess, was
there was the
following
recording,
my
and then there
understanding.
is what he said while not under oath, but within the room of a hearing, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
In which it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, he could have lied, right?
He could have lied, but
but if we are asserting, if we are asserting that that the room felt like, hey, he's probably telling the truth, even if we were to, assert that, right? That recording, if my recollection is correct, because I've heard some of what's in this tape, and I'll review it after this. is he mentions things about money and owing Redwood and
Yeah.
all this stuff. Is that means that there's a problem here with an attorney that is indebted to a corporation and is right? Like that raises a lot of ethical concerns. It also raises whether that attorney could have even, the moment that tape turned on, could represent the individuals in the room, right?
Yeah.
Further
That was
brings
my way of
credibility
thinking.
to the statements not only he made on the tape, but the statements that were made in the hearing itself. And this is notwithstanding Maxwell was the interviewer whom was entered in the original court case.
Yeah.
So,
I
but then
think
the
that
ruling
was the
is
issue with it, because they were the
mistrial
ones
with
performing it.
prejudice. With prejudice is
Means you
not
can't bring
exactly
him
in light of what Paul did, right?
I don't know what.
Well, so where I'm trying to say is it's a mistrial with prejudice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through the assertion that Paul allegedly was where Paul was allegedly, bribed, but the tape shows that he might be compromised. Right?
This is okay. I'm not sure exactly what that my. I will put it because I'm not really sure what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that when everything started and I heard what was being said, what was the issue was, my focus was about what Paul. My focus was Paul, and it was later on that it was, like I said, I broadened my scope to include more. The reason why it becomes more than just about Paul from when discussions and where I came around was that the plaintiffs in this case, specifically Shang, because he's the one that Paul said made the offer of whatever he was going to protect him, whatever. The reason that becomes an issue for due process for the overall case is because it would speak to impropriety from both sides, not just one. And that is the part of it that would usurp due process for me, because you're having inappropriate behavior, not just meeting, not just, talking to people in passing. That's not an issue. You
I
can't just talk
agree
to people.
wholeheartedly. We're on the
But
same
when
page
you,
there.
right, but when you have people making offers, you have other people, kind of entertaining it, but then not. And then you have then the other part of him getting kidnapped by people who are supposed to be with the
There's
Redwood,
no
but
evidence
then
of
asking
that, though.
questions about the case. This is what I'm saying. The offer was made to to Robin, for his clients to be able to, basically hear it, that this is what's come up and this is what, to get their input on it, their say. He said no. So we weren't going to be getting anything from them
But that's pleading the
at
fifth,
all.
is it not?
The fifth is another issue, but
Well, and I hope you don't take this as argumentative. This is me asking genuinely. If
I think you're just
Robin's,
trying to get the information.
but if Robin, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mm-hmm.
is acting in good faith as a defense attorney, and
Mm-hmm.
he is choosing to state that his clients will be pleading the fifth on the matter, what evidence is there to even assert any of this is true?
Then you have to go on what you have available to you. And that's what we had available to us. And you also have to remember that you have to look at this from the scope of a civil matter and not a criminal matter. The burden of proof is much less on a civil situation. Now, anybody, like I said, can disagree and you can look into it, and other people can have a different opinion. That is perfectly fine. And that's just usually the way it
I don't want
goes.
to challenge the opinion. I'm only
But
interested
I'm
in.
saying that's why. Is
Yeah.
because if this is what we have regarding this incident, and we're getting information from the victim in this case, which is also defense counsel in this current case, and then the people involved in the first part are members of, opposing side.
May I stop you there? Because
Sure.
you did mention these things, so I don't
Okay,
want to
good.
suggest that they don't
To
matter,
go
but
over it
rather
again?
I've
Okay.
heard those bits.
Okay, good. I know. Please stop me. I don't want to go over it again either.
What I'm sort of getting at here is with them having pled the fifth, there is.
They didn't really plead the fifth, to just be clear, because they didn't do that. Their attorney just basically said they would have nothing to offer. They weren't going to be speaking on it.
Yeah,
So
but I mean is
they're just
that
not
not
they're not doing
effectively the same thing? Because he's like, don't they effectively have like pseudo power of attorney?
Well, pleading the fifth says that you're not saying anything because it might incriminate you. Saying that you're not even going to entertain or you're not going to offer anything to it, that's not you saying it's going to incriminate me. It's just I have nothing to offer here.
But yeah, they're going to say
Having nothing to offer could be the same. Could be saying I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. Or, but when you plead the fifth, you're actively indicating. I'm sorry to put it like that, but you are saying I'm not saying anything because if I do, I will incriminate myself. So you're basically saying,
it's not, with all due respect.
okay,
Because keep in mind, it's in case you are, right? Because what you're stating is
because
that
it
is
might
the
incriminate me.
assertion. That's making an assertion that there is something
What I'm
incriminating.
saying is it can
Right.
be when there's a difference between pleading the fifth and just saying like no comment on something. When you say you plead the fifth, you put out that what you say might incriminate you. It doesn't say that you're doing something, but it says that if I answer, it might open the door to some incriminating stuff for me. Might, not will, might.
I see
I
what
want
you're
to ask
saying.
one
What it
thing
does
Yeah.
say.
in that regard. Were the accused present at the hearing? I just don't know if I knew
The
that.
attorney was, Robin was. And he
Okay,
was
so
given the
just the attorney.
opportunity. And he was given the
So-
opportunity to either bring his clients or confer with his clients. He chose not to.
So where I was driving that initial question is okay, Robin didn't want to offer anything, but that leaves you with just the tape and the statement. But in that tape, the individual, in this case, Hammerstein, is talking about owing money and Redwoods Racetrack and protection. How was that taken as anything but unreliable, right?
Because that's his statement of what happened. He went to the police after his injuries and everything that happened to him. They took his statement. Whether or not those should have been the officers that took the statement, that's another issue that came up for us, because there was at least one other officer that could have done it. But
Did this not make it? Was there any feeling in the room about, hey, this guy is not a reliable witness?
Well, in this case, he's not a witness per se. He's the victim, so he gets to say what happened to him. There was evidence of him being kidnapped and injured.
Was there?
The injuries he sustained.
Maybe
I
there's a
believe-
different report I didn't see.
Maybe there's I don't know if there's a medical report that you can access or get, but that was the issue at hand.
I don't see one.
I'm getting.
Oh, I see one. Well, there's only a statement. Okay. Here's where I'm at with it. I'm going to speak with the other judges. I want to be very clear here. My intention here is, just I know, I think it's important to me to be transparent. I'm not here to come after anybody, right? My primary goal here is, if anything were to happen to you, especially after this conversation, or these situations after you're shooting, revolving around the court case. But
Yeah.
it is also to fully understand the scope of what happened in this past week, from every angle, every aspect, etc. Because
I don't have a problem with what you're doing,
and I am
also
hoping
don't
that
have a problem with any. I feel like that's the way things improve, is if an issue comes up or you realize that there's, maybe something that needs to be corrected in the way
problems,
things are interpreted or whatever.
misunderstandings.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be done. I don't have an issue.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm still recovering, so yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I have no problem with it. I mean, that's why I wanted to talk to somebody about it.
Absolutely. Look, I don't like to look things from a singular pane of glass, from a singular accuser. I think that the job of the marshals is to assess the full scope of something, not things in isolation, and to handle them with care and neutrality. And that does mean sometimes I have to ask the hard questions, even, with those that don't have felonies, right?
No,
so hell yeah. With all that said, I'm going to end the recording here at 8:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're sort of running out of time here, and I do need to, start moving quick, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. I appreciate Ava. Thank you very much. And
I'm not.
And let us know if anything
stay
further
in my
comes up.
house
Any
anymore,
threats.
so
yeah.
I just can't do it.
Sorry, say again.
So I'm not going to stay in the house anymore. I'm not looking for trouble, but I really can't stay cooped up in here anymore. I also don't like, living in fear. I don't like being afraid, and I am afraid. I'm not going to lie, but I feel like I can't just stay in here like this.
Obviously, we can't advise one way or another, right? It's just, it is San Andreas. Know that the marshals were understaffed, right? So we're going to get to things as quick as we can. We're literally dealing with level 10 incidents like all day, every day. So please, if you think something's going on, please 911, right?
Yeah. But I don't want to bother people.
Okay.
Every day, I'm awake, I'm around, because what are you going to do? Nobody's going to be able to babysit me.
Absolutely.
It's just either something's going to happen or it's not. And I hate to put it that way, but hopefully nothing happens. But if it does,
y'all need to push something forward about getting attacked if it's related to rulings. I'm going to be real with you, because there ain't much we can do about this, Ava. Like, that's just me. Like, as I could sit here and be like, we got your back, but there should be a zeros level or very heavy fine and time if someone's attacked over a court case. Been saying it for a while.
I agree with you, but that's above me.
It's not above you. You're in the DOJ.
Yeah, but I'm only a judge. I'm not a justice, and I'm not anything higher than that. I can
still bring it up.
Suggest it. It has been brought up.
Oh.
It has been.
Okay. Have they said no?
I mean, look at this. I mean, Elizabeth was hurt a while ago.
Yeah, you got to start stamping your feet, Ava.
Yeah,
like, look, I was a deputy, and look at me now. You know what I mean?
One of the only people that hadn't been was
I
me.
stamped my feet all the way to the top.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm serious. Yeah, I said PD is fucking dog shit, and I kept kicking and kicking. And look, I've done a lot of controversial things in the past, but I'm not saying it's that you're the one, but everyone's got a stamp, right? Yeah. Ruth got ripped out of the PD. Look at her now. You know what I mean? So
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyways,
thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tonight, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Just be smart, be safe.
Yeah, I'll do the best I can.
All right, hell yeah. Oh fuck, my coffee.